Welcome back to Big Red Rant, everybody. What's going on? Wanted to do a little. Let's just say we're excited. Is that fair, Gary? Welcome back to Big
We're
Red
excited.
Rant, everybody. What's going on? Wanted to
Yeah.
do a
Give me a
little.
second. I got
Got something I need to mute.
Yeah, well,
Let's just say we're excited.
just got to
Is
mute
that
something.
is that
Hold on.
fair, Gary? Welcome back to Big
We're
Red
excited.
Rant, everybody. What's going on? Wanted
Yeah.
to do a
Give me a
little.
second. I got
something I need to mute. Found it. We're good to go now. Big
good,
game is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say it's a big game. I'm trying to say I'm excited. I'm trying to say I'm a little anxious.
You still thinking in Michigan? Nothing changed your mind?
I mean, I'll tell you. If they plan to throw, we got some comments in our last video. We'll go over from some Michigan fans. Most of them were pleasant, because we weren't being dickheads for once.
Well, especially when both of us predict Michigan, they're probably like, "See, these
Right.
guys are sensible."
Right. These guys are actually smart. We'll see.
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope I'm dead wrong on that. But if they're gonna throw, some people said they were gonna throw. They're like, you guys think we're gonna throw, and there is a very good possibility that your boy Biff, how do you say his last name? Poggi. He could just be
Biff Buchanan.
That's fine, but they could just be saying, "Hey, we're gonna take the reins off of him. We're gonna let him run," so that Nebraska has to get extremely prepared for that, and then they just come out and do their passing thing. I don't know. If they dedicate themselves to the run, I think it favors them. But are they going to? Is that all just coach speak? I mean, of course you would say, why would you telegraph what you're going to do so that your opponent, like if they didn't want us to prepare for the run, wouldn't they be like, he's a passing QB. He's a passer. We're going to pass.
Yeah, he didn't really run until this last week.
He looks so good running, dude. It's really not fair.
Yeah. I mean, my point is, I don't care if your quarterback's not a running quarterback. Like if you have Dylan Raiola as your quarterback and you're playing Nebraska, figure out ways to run the quarterback because they have not shown in many years that they can stop it. So,
many years. This isn't just
it wouldn't make sense unless Michigan is able to pass and have success, which I don't think any of us think that's the case. I think all of us assume if they do try to pass, that's our best bet. I don't think they stick with that too long. I don't think you have a guy that's that dynamic of a runner playing a team that's historically bad at stopping a running quarterback and then just go, yeah, it's just not the plan we wrote up for today. Like, I think you have to utilize that, right? If Butler has some things for running quarterbacks now and we're all shocked, you know what I'm saying, first couple of series, it's like, oh shit, they're actually ready for it and having success stopping it. Guys are in the right place, wrapping up, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, then it makes sense for them to get away from it if they were wanting to pass anyways. But at any point in the game, even if your game plan is we're going to pass on them and it's not working or drives start to stall out, I mean, why would you not test it against that defense? You know, I mean, like historically against that defense, and historically as recent as 3 weeks ago against Cincinnati. So I don't know.
Seth,
I don't really know what they say they're running.
Seth Rydberg in the chat, what up, says, really don't know how to feel about this game. Could go either way. I think that's an improvement. I think that's I'm not a greedy man. I'm not a greedy Husker fan. I'm grateful that we're going into a Michigan game and we can sit here and say, hey man, Huskers could win this thing. That's cool to be able to say. Can't we be happy with that without having to? I'm just seeing so much on Twitter of just people just going at Michigan fans, and maybe people just enjoy it. Maybe they just enjoy the back and forth, and they don't.
Shit talking, the banter or whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
I would kind of prefer to keep my head down. What up, Andrew Anderson in the house? Says go Big Red. Iraq vet 0608 says go Big Red. Appreciate the support. I'm sure the team does as well. We got some topics we wanna talk about for this game, but if you guys have anything you want to bring up in the chat, we'd just talk to you guys and not necessarily answer your questions, but but go back and forth with you on what you guys think is going to happen with the game. I mean, do you guys have any score predictions for this game? I mean, is anyone super confident or is anyone super pessimistic? Because I've been more on the, as long as it isn't a bad loss, I'll be happy side, but I really am starting to think, man, there is a potential for an upset if they decide that they want to pass on us. I just don't know that we're going to be able to stop their run. I better than that, I don't believe we will be able to stop their run. And we'll talk about that.
Did you see Portnoy talking to the Rule?
I did. I watched that whole interview. Did you?
How he just, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw the clip where he's talking to him where he's like, I don't think you guys are there yet. And he's really good running quarterback. Guys have had trouble. Like, just flat out, pretty much to him, tells him. And then when he talks about Rello or whatever, and it's like, there has to be some significance of improvement in stopping a running quarterback. Because it's to the point where, like, the reason I brought that up is, like, everybody knows that. It used to be some Husker fans wouldn't even, when you're talking to him, it's like,
it hadn't
he's
dawned
not
on
a
them
very
yet.
good runner. And it's like, well, they don't have to be, dude. Like, they just gouge the defense either way. That's the problem. And then everybody knew it, realized it. Then you start seeing other teams trying to, even non-running quarterbacks, run on us when they could. And now it's like this national thing where I've heard several people, I can't remember if it was Klatt or one of the other guys on one of
your
the fields
boy
like
Joel
that,
Klatt?
about, yeah. One of them talking about too, like, Nebraska's gonna have to really be prepared for the quarterback run because they struggle with Cincinnati, and this guy's more dynamic. It's like, yeah, man, like, now everybody knows it. Like, there's no way they can't be blindsided. You can't go into the game tomorrow and then all of a sudden he runs for 100 and some yards, and it's like, yeah,
do you need to be really blindsided for him to run for 100 yards? I think that you could literally go into
blindsided with Sorsby. Remember Butler at the end? I'm not saying he was, but he's like, it was like he didn't understand the coverages, so he just ran. It's like, yeah. And we all noticed that. Why was nobody worrying about him not recognizing? I don't care why he's running. He seemed surprised, and then he kept doing it, and you didn't do anything to stop, to even try to stop it. It wasn't like there was a spy. Like, so say they put a spy on Underwood. It's likely and at times going to happen to where the spy just isn't fast enough or doesn't get to an angle quick enough or doesn't wrap up, gets shook, whatever. Like that's one thing. That's a set of problems, right? But when nobody's there and it's like, yeah, just pick one of those gaps and run until somebody gets in the vicinity and slide. That's inexcusable. You know what I'm saying? So, like, with all the, I mean, you would think that by this point something would have changed along the line because it's been so bad for so long. But it's like, I'm just saying there has to be some kind of preparation for it this week, where I can see you're prepping for Cincinnati. You're like, yeah, he can get out and move a little bit, but they don't do a lot of design quarterback run. He's not really dynamic. If guys are in their places, we'll be able to keep the quarterback at bay, and he ends up torching it and almost being the reason they come back. So I'm saying you have to go into this with a game plan of like, okay, what are we going to do to make sure that's not an option for this dude?
And my question is, is it possible that we're going to go into, because I think we will. Well, I mean, come on, dude. A schmuck like myself understands it. Butler's going to understand it. So they're going to go into it with a really good plan. Here's how we're going to stop it. Isn't it possible, though, that we go in with every best intention of stopping it and just can't?
Yeah, 100%. Because their offensive line is going to be the toughest offensive line we played for sure. And they decided to go with a more powerful, run heavy type offense or game plan, including him running. I mean, you have bigger, stronger dudes blocking a more elusive quarterback. Like, yeah, he can still eat you up. I'm just saying. I'm thinking back to Cincinnati. I'm comparing this game at stopping the quarterback
So
to this run.
with Cincinnati, it feels like Cincinnati had a plan to run their offense, but Butler's secondary is super slick and like really advanced. And
Yeah,
he had no choice but to say, okay, well, then I'm just going to drop back and I guess I'll just run if I don't see anything. And I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that Butler got that awakening of like, hey, man, it's awesome that you're such a good. I mean, obviously, we all know your Buffalo secondary was really great, and it is here. That's cool, but it's good that he got that awakening of like, hey, I might need to factor in that once I shut these quarterbacks down with my scheme, now I got to have something for that run. So like maybe it's best case scenario that Sorsby carved us up like that.
yeah, could be.
We got some real men in the chat that I'd like to read their
Real
comments
ones.
if you don't mind. Matt Hatter says, best Husker channel on YouTube. Thank you, Matt Hatter. We're trying, man. We're trying out here. Andrew says, side of caution but optimistic. Seth says, I want to low-key believe that they come out like they did versus Colorado, would have that stadium crazy. Oh, my gosh, dude. Do you expect... Okay, maybe the energy is matched. I could see the energy being matched. But do you see them coming out and stomping a mud hole like they did versus Colorado? Even, like, say, for the first quarter or the first two drives. The first drive.
No, but if we do, shit, I'll be.
It's like, bro, you don't even have a car.
I'll
Like,
be,
why
yeah.
are you like why are you talking about winning rate? You know, I mean, it's not that bad. It's not. I am a battered fan. I apologize. I have battered fan syndrome. Okay, the Huskers haven't won checks notes, hasn't won a Big Ten a versus a ranked team since 2015. We were 0 for 3 last season, and the one that really comes to mind where we were like, oh, we got these dudes, was actually two of them, Indiana and Illinois, and both of those were not good. Indiana was way worse than Illinois, but you know what I mean? Like, don't I have the right to be pessimistic? I want that right.
Yeah, maybe they got the right to be the way they want. I'm just saying, like, my expectation going into the game is I don't think we're gonna win. I don't. If we would have put a score on it, I don't know, man. I think it would be a relatively high scoring. Like, I don't think it would be like high, but I mean like upper 20s to low 30s or somewhere around there. I I figured maybe a touchdown to 10 points or whatever. So I'm definitely not expecting Nebraska to win. I'm very hopeful they'll win. I'm not expecting Michigan to blow us out. So, like, the idea of me trying to process us beating the brakes off of them for a quarter or two series or something is like, I'll be ecstatic if that happens. And yeah, 1,000%
Of course,
the
we'll be
stadium's going to be
happy.
nuts all the way up to kickoff and for the first few series, regardless. So, I mean, I don't know. That'd be wild.
Let's see. Matt Hatter says 28-24 Big Red. By the way, guys, if you don't mind, please help us out by hitting the like button if you haven't. I know a lot of you have, but it's the one thing that like actually sends this video out to even our own subscribers. Don't know we're live until you hit the like button. It's really weird like that. Blue Penguin says, as much as I want to feel optimistic, I have 20 years of evidence to tell me to temper my expectations. I do believe we're on the right track, and I won't be devastated by a loss this Saturday. Dude, thank you for saying that, because to me, that's the real beauty of this game is you don't even have to win it. And that could be another feather in our cap. Not confidence, but lack of fear. You can go into this game and be like, hey, man, it ain't the end of the world if we lose. We have nothing to lose here. Like, we could literally still go to the playoffs. Not that I'm saying that'll happen, but it is still a possibility to go to the playoffs if we lose this game and another game. So there's nothing to lose. Let's go out there and just play with our freaking hair on fire. And you're going to have to win in the trenches, dude.
The beauty for me, though, like the real optimist side of it that I know we haven't really touched on, with both of us kind of expecting a loss, is like it's for sure a winnable game. It's not like last year we were getting ready to play Ohio State after Indiana beat the brakes off us, and it's like there's no way. And then they surprised and had a close game, right? But this is a winnable game. And if they win this with the way that schedule is set up, you go from us right now expecting a loss to Michigan to where it's like, even with a loss to, say, Penn State down the road, you're a one-loss Big Ten team. You're pretty much all but guaranteed you're in the playoff.
Dude,
so, like this time tomorrow, we could be gassed up. You know what I mean? Then everything changes the other way, and, like, Kool-Aid.
Bro, we could be gassed up tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. After a loss, we could be gassed up. Like, dude, we're right there. We're right there.
I don't think I'd be gassed up after a loss. It'd be depending on how it looks. You can be like, yeah, obviously. I feel like there is progress, so I don't need the game really to show me that. I just don't know that. I feel like we're finally to where we're beating teams we're supposed to the way we're supposed to, and not getting embarrassed by other teams, and at a point where we should be able to beat the teams that are on our level, definitely below. I don't know that we're at the point now where we should be beating teams, expecting to beat teams that, like what you just laid out. You know, bigger, more physical offensive lines, ranked teams that we haven't beaten forever, elusive, really good running, athletic quarterbacks. All these things, to me, that's where we're at now, is seeing like, okay, when can we start checking these boxes off to get up to that next level? You know what I'm saying? I think the progress is already there. I don't think a loss is going to change that tomorrow, but I don't think something's going to happen in a loss where it's like, oh shit, I feel even better. Like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I know what you're saying, but I'm just like, I think I'm already there. And that's why I'm not, with expecting a loss, I'm not like bummed out. Like, this team's just trash. They're not moving along. Like, I just don't think they're there yet. And like I said, I hope I'm wrong. Hope they are ready for mainly what I keep harping on, the quarterback run game. But I mean, we'll see. But I'm just saying, like, the game isn't the end of the world if they lose, but it completely, in my opinion,
it's the beginning of the world if we win.
If we win, yeah, exactly. Because I mean, you got what, USC, but other than that, up until, I don't think USC is as good as Michigan. Maybe they are. I just, from what I've seen of both of them right now, I don't think they
look good.
So, I mean, that would give me more confidence. You beat Michigan, that USC coming here is also going to be a very winnable game. And then I think you're in a bad spot no matter what, or how good you're feeling when you got to go to Penn State. But I mean, again, if you get into a world where that's your one loss on the season, expectations and the outlook on the team is drastically different than it is, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever it is.
I got to be honest, man. I feel like Husker fans are doing a really good job of being tempered with their expectations compared to years past. Don't you think? Like, you could look at you could look at YouTube views across all Husker channels. It's still at like a steady level. Like our guy Carricker, I was looking back, like his views are really good, as they always are. But remember, like there are times where his views balloon beyond reason, and it's because
per hour he gets what we get per video.
And like now, right, like lately, they're just kind of like just really good views, you know? I see that for all the Husker channels, and I think it's because people aren't fully bought in yet, and that's fine. Like, and I'm not complaining about that. That's just something I've noticed. And so I think for every channel, you'll see views go through the roof if they win this game. But I want to get back to the chat, all right? Because we have real alpha chads, unlike yourself.
Yeah, people that I look up to, much like yourself.
Wow.
I strive to be like.
And one says, anybody watching the Iowa versus Rutgers game? Were you watching that?
I was just going to ask you if you were. I'm watching it right now.
I was playing college football. Program building, you know. Theo says, need to be more aggressive passing compared to Cincy game plan. And J-Dub predicted a 28-21 victory.
So
go ahead.
So, real quick on that topic.
Yeah.
It hasn't. I didn't bring it up in the video. I had it written down, but as long as it was going, I didn't worry about it. But this is the first, no disrespect, real team that we're playing since Cincinnati. Since the other two teams didn't have
much more real than Cincinnati too, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. But the two games, the Akron and Houston Christian games after Cincinnati, between not doing the same style of defense Cincinnati did and not having that athletes Cincinnati had to do it, what is it going to look like? Everything we heard in like every response or disagreement with my idea that you still have to send guys deep on a cover 3, even if you're not going to do it, because you have to. The safety's job to keep everything in front of them, make them play deeper. That's why bend but don't break defenses exist, right? You can move the ball downfield. The field gets shorter when you're in the red zone or in the end zone, and all of a sudden they stop them holding the field goals. So my argument was like, yeah, I'm not saying chuck the ball up to one receiver 40 yards downfield in the middle of three safeties. I'm saying post threats to those safeties to make them play deeper so that you don't have to settle for 2 and 3 yard dump offs all game. You can throw 7 and 9 yard dump offs or, check downs or shorter passes. Now you got more room to work. The defense isn't already crowded. You're not throwing into a tight secondary, right? So what's to say that Michigan's not going to come out, especially as much as they disguise bluff, and look like they're in something else and drop into cover 3 the entire time? You can't. If you couldn't throw and you were afraid to even test the secondary of Cincinnati, Michigan basically at that point is telling you you're not going to throw any attempts over 5 yards this game. Because if you couldn't do it on Cincinnati, you're not going to be able to do it on Michigan. Like, what or do you think...
That's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah, or do you think, like... I don't know what you do with that if you didn't have an answer for Cincinnati. That's, to me, where it would put the ball back in Holgerson's court of the same way Butler has to be ready going into this game to do something the defense is even before him. Not that it's his fault or it's not fair to hold him accountable for it. But I'm just saying, for as long as we can remember, no one's been able to stop a running quarterback. No one's been able to stop a non-running quarterback that decides to run. You need to do something. That's what we need you to show up this game. Holgerson, if they decide that cover 3, that shell defense that Cincinnati ran, and you couldn't do shit in the passing game other than short little checkdowns, your job now is, if they decide they're going to do it with better athletes, you have to have some wrinkles or something you're doing. So it's not all just on the rushing quarterback part. And I think we kind of forgot how easy Cincinnati shut down our pass game with a simple defense, really, because we haven't played a team anywhere close to that caliber that would test us, even if they did. The other two teams could have done it, and all of a sudden they're not stopping it. You know what I mean? They don't have.
And I would assume that they could play that 3 high shell, and their 4 down linemen, probably not 3, but at least if they're just in 4 down linemen, they're going to be much more suited to stop the run while doing that whole 3 deep shell, which could be insane. At least our offensive line is greatly improved. Emmett Johnson looks like he went through some serious successful training this last season. I don't know what he looks faster, he looks smarter, his vision is better. It's literally like the video game where you get to just put attributes into a player and make them better. Like he did that to himself. It's clear. He's got to stay healthy because I don't really think you got anyone proven behind him yet. I don't think that the 2 games that we played, the easy cupcake games, I don't think they got a backup running back solidified, right? I mean, other than I guess Ives is back, he's healthy, he could do it. But I'm not saying we're out here like Ives will carry the load. It's like, we're still screwed if Emmett goes down. Knock on wood, and God forbid.
Yeah, I feel better about the running back situation than I did the beginning of the season.
How much
though.
better? Give me like a
guys that
percentage out of 100. How much percent better do you feel?
I feel like almost 100% better.
What?
I don't mean that in the sense of, yeah, if Emmett goes down, no big deal. That's just what happens when you have a stud guy. You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to be as good as Emmett if he goes down. Like, no, they're not as good now when he's out for, a drive or a few plays. So, I mean, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying at the beginning of the season, I was like, dude, if he goes down, do they even know who they're going to go with? Or do we know what that running game is going to look like? It's not, it doesn't take it to where like, well, basically you can't run now. You know what I'm saying? Like there's guys that can still play and you can rotate in that do different things, whether you want somebody more shifty and dynamic, somebody that runs a little more north-south, more physical style runner or whatever. None of them are the level of Emmett. I'm not saying that, but it's like, okay, there's guys that can manage it to where we still have a run game.
I don't know that I believe that. I versus a team like Michigan, I literally think that if he were to even need to miss like a quarter or something, I think I would damn near expect our running game to be completely out the window. Well, we're not running. Like I could see us trying it, them smacking the shit out of us a couple of times, and us being like, that ain't gonna work. Put the ball in Raiola's hands, which is fine. At least we're in a position where we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean, a lot of the improvement in the running game is this year is the offensive line has definitely improved.
I don't think anyone has the vision. I don't think anyone on our team has half the vision. And okay, let's say Ives has half the vision. He probably does. He just doesn't have the burst, bro. He don't look bursty. He doesn't even look that strong when he runs. I hate to say it. Like maybe I'm just stuck on like when I see someone his size, I see doubt.
Arguing two different points. Like
we both agree the line can get it done still for running.
But you're comparing all these running backs to Emmett, and I'm saying none of those guys are Emmett. None of them are on his level. That doesn't mean that we can't have a run game. Doesn't mean there aren't holes to hit. Doesn't mean that if these guys would have gotten the carries that Emmett got against Akron and Houston Christian, that they couldn't have had at or close to 100 yards and a half with some of the holes that he was running through, or like the overall yards if they're getting targeted in the passing game. You know what I mean? Like it's just they're not on his level, even if they do get the same amount. I get that, but it's not like Emmett's not Barry Sanders with a bad offensive line setting the world on fire, setting records. Like it's a combination of
it's a partnership
running game, and he's really good at everything you said, exploding. He's not hesitating. He's getting to the lanes. There's lanes for him to get to. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes against Cincinnati, he's having to make guys miss in the backfield. And to your point, that changes things up when you're playing a team like Michigan, that you're going to have even more guys in the backfield more often. So I don't think Emmett's going to look as good as Emmett looked the first 3 weeks tomorrow. So, but to compare apples to apples, obviously we haven't seen that. It's just these guys coming in garbage time and they're splitting carries when they're in. He's getting the bulk of the carries. He's going to have more impressive yards and things like that. And he would be more impressive than them if it was all equal. But I'm saying you could have had a game or two. Look, when TJ Lateef came in for Raiola, he's the quarterback. he's not splitting quarterback time with other guys, like maybe a series or something later, but like within a series, it's not okay. You going for a play, and then in this situation, we'll bring you back in later, and then at the end of the game, you're like, I had 20 yards with whatever. It's like he gets to orchestrate the offense the entire drives where he's in, takes them down, pushes it in, and it's like everybody thinks, okay, if Raiola goes down, we're golden with TJ Latif, and it's like I think we're fine. Like I think we're okay. We're not completely dead in the water, but I don't think he's on Raiola's level. It's the same thing. Say when Emmett went out, if we would have had 2-3 straight series of nothing but Ives, or 2-3 series of nothing but Nelson or whoever else,
It's
maybe
hard to judge it
like,
versus
oh,
those
shit,
teams,
that's a
though.
little bit better body of work to judge against. Yeah, but
Yeah, but
Emmett ran up the yards and looked as impressive as he did against those teams.
yeah, but he also looked just as impressive, if not more impressive, against Cincinnati, who actually had, Godfather and actual threats on the defense to stop it. The other guys looked like babes in the woods.
But those other guys collectively got what? 7 carries? Like that was the
Because
big thing,
when they
the big
came
takeaway.
in, they looked so green. It's a green thing. It's green going up against Michigan. That's what scares me.
We're getting 1 carry as a freshman opening night in Arrowhead in front of
But it's
70,000
different
or
to
whatever
be
it was.
green and to look
Isn't
extremely green. They
a good
looked it
judge
too.
of how good somebody's going to be when it's like, oh, there's your 1 carry that you didn't elude the 3 guys that were in the backfield as you were getting the ball, so get out of here. We're going to go with somebody else. Oh, you didn't look great either. Okay, Emmett, go back in for the next 17 straight plays. Man, he looks way better than those. Like, yeah, he's better than them. There's a reason why he's the guy that keeps getting the carries and should. I'm not arguing any of that, but I'm saying, like, assuming these guys are bums because they looked good against
I didn't
2
say
bad teams and
bums.
didn't do great with
Nobody
less than 3
said
carries each
bums.
against Cincinnati.
That's how
It's
you
like,
know you're
well, their
losing an
body of work
argument.
goes
That's
nowhere
how you
near
know.
Emmett's body of work. It's like, well, no shit. He's got 10,000 times or 10,000% more carries than them.
As soon as you have to start ad-libbing things that weren't said, that's how you know
We
your
all heard
argument's
it.
fading.
We all heard it. Everybody in the chat just keeps hammering you for calling them bombs.
We got people saying Mackay looked good. People are confident in Mackay. I think his future, I will be confident in him in the future. I'm excited about him, but I can't say I'm confident in him right now. Who? Mosey?
Mosey seems like he's really tough to break down. You don't get a lot of clean
Who
hits on
would
him.
you have him or Ives be the first guy you go to in a backup situation?
Both. It would be situational. Like if I'm trying to be a more physical downhill run game, I'd go with a guy like Ives. Just because of size, not even necessarily his style. His style isn't like a big hammering back style.
I don't know
I
what
just
his
think
style is, bro. What's his style?
I think he's more like Emmett's style. He's just not as sharp and crisp, and he's a bigger body.
That doesn't make any type of sense. What does that
Yeah,
mean?
'cause you're
That sounds awful.
he's not a he's a regular like
Straight line.
type guy with the build of a downhill big back, big bodied back.
I think I would go to him just because of the vast. Well, it's not even that vast. It's not even that vast. You got a couple carries in the Pinstripe Bowl, and every time I've seen him touch the ball this year, like his big runs, his touchdown runs, no one's within a country mile of him. So it's just hard to judge. He's just running straight in a line with the ball tucked under his chin, which is great, I guess, but
I mean,
it's not going to look like that versus Michigan.
You don't want big gaping holes for your running backs to run through.
I don't believe that those big gaping holes will exist versus Michigan. You know? I actually respect my opponent.
So you know you're losing an argument.
Matt says Underwood is going to make freshman mistakes.
That's a real thing.
It is a possibility.
I'd feel better about that if they didn't play at Oklahoma against Oklahoma a couple weeks ago. Like that was
If this was his first crowd test.
Yeah, baptism by fire type thing. But
that was probably more fire, honestly. Wouldn't Oklahoma?
Well, the team's definitely better. The environment's going to be better or tougher on them against us than against Oklahoma. But talent-wise, getting thrown in right away, like that's a quick kind of drink from a fire hose or rip the Band-Aid up type situation where it's not going to be brand new to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I hope that the game's tight. You know, that game they were out of that game. They had that one big busted play that they ran that was it like 70, 75-yard touchdown. But they were pretty well out of that game relatively quick. But if this game turns into something going into the third, fourth quarter, what's his nerves like in a big game with the game actually on the line? You know, they're up 3 touchdowns or down 2 or 3 scores or something like that, where there's a lot less pressure. Maybe then you get to see, you know, if the freshman thing, the being rattled or the freshman mistakes, stuff like that starts to happen. But I don't know. Like I said, he's had a big game against a big team already. So on the road, I don't know that it's going to be as impactful as it would be.
AZ Husker, what's going on, man? Says Michigan is not the juggernaut from 2 years ago. It's a good transition point for me here. I'm always transitioning. He said they're not the juggernaut that they were from 2 years ago. Understood. No. But let me read something to you. All right, so biggest issue, the number one talked about thing, the number one crux of this game is going to be the fact that we don't have the meat up front to push up against their meat. Is that fair? I'm just talking about meat, Gary. Talk about rubbing man meat together. Cam Leonard, 6'3", 270. Elijah Judy, 6'3", 300. Okay, they got him listed at 300. Keona Davis, 6'5", 275. I do like that our guys are tall. That's nice. Waneri, 265, 6'7". Riley Van Poppel, who I would have thought was like a clean 300 pounds. They got him listed at 295, 6'5". Gabe Moore, he looks like a 300-pounder. He does. 290. Okay, Jalen George, 285. And that's up from like the 250, 255 he came in at. Somewhere around there, give or take. Sua Lefotu, is that how you say it? Sure. There's a 300-pounder, 6'3", 300. So their offensive line, that their starters, that they're going to be mostly going up against. Evan Link, 6'6", 324. Their guard, Giovanni El Hadi, 6'5", 315. Center, Greg Crippen. Dope name, by the way. If he can't crip walk, he's wasting his life. Greg Crippen, 6'4", 309. Brady Norton, another guard, 6'4", 312. Offensive tackle, Andrew Sprague, 6'8", 315. So they're not the juggernaut that they were from 2 years ago. However, our issue obviously has been in the Big Ten for the last decade of being in the Big Ten or more. Being undersized, not having the line to push against their line. Dude, and I don't care anymore. I'm done with everything. I hate my Chicago Bears because they don't understand the foundations of football, which I taught you, which is offensive and always will. Offensive and defensive line play. And I'm not saying that you got to be 300 pounds. If you're smaller, you can't win. That's not always the case. But if everyone you have is much smaller than everyone they have, and it's not like they're not proving, like, what are they top? Was it 5 or 15 run offense in the country? I know there's a 5. I think there's a 5 in there. They're up there when it comes to running the ball. And we are not up there when it comes to stopping the run. And if we're middle of the road stopping the run, why do you think that is? Because of who we've been playing. So, like, it could be if they dedicate themselves, they could road grade us, don't you think?
Yeah, but when your defense built like that, like you just
teach me.
You're trying to. Like you need to see more twists and stunts and things like that, and utilize your linebackers. Like you're going with an extra backer, whether it's a defensive back or an outside linebacker. You're already heavier than traditional like a 4-3 or 4-4 or something like that, or not a 4-4. But you're going with you got to utilize your linebackers as defensive ends, which you automatically do in that type of defense anyways. But to your point, lining up and trying to go head to head and move the line of scrimmage backwards is a tall task when you're outsized like that. But defenses that are built like that, like I'm a Bills fan. The front line isn't very big. Like Ed Oliver is one of the smallest defensive tackles in the league. He's also one of the best ones because his technique's great, but he goes around defensive ends and has defensive ends coming under, and there's different angles being created, and you're trying to get the offensive line moving so they're not just downhill all the time. There's going to be times where you line up and it's obvious 3rd and 2. All right, man, do what you can. Hopefully a backer can get a gap or squeeze between a gap or come over a pile if it's a scrum, whatever. But yeah, the reality of who's going to outpower who at the lines is pretty obvious when you're talking about sizes like that. But there's a lot of teams. Aaron Donald was one of the smaller defensive. That was the biggest criticism of him. I'm not saying we have an Ed Oliver or an Aaron Donald on the defensive line, but I'm saying the style and the scheme that you do with those types of guys is different than what we're used to seeing, or like what we just saw when we had Hutmacher and Ty Robinson in the middle taking up that much space and having that kind of power. So you're right with what you're saying, but it's not like the first time something like this has happened in football or on a good defense, or it's impossible to work with those parts. People just have to execute, which is, to your point, you don't have a good feel whether they are or aren't based off of what we've seen so far, be it talent-wise, rotating guys in, not showing a lot, just lining up a little more square. You're not seeing a ton of stunts and things like that. So I don't know, man. This is one more thing that's like, this game's going to reveal a lot, I think. Other than just, is Nebraska back? I think that's what a lot of people keep saying that. Like, to me, it's not that simple. And back to your point, you can still take some things away in a loss. I don't think it's that cut and dry. Like, well, whether we win or lose will kind of tell you where we're at with stuff. I think how the defense does with a running quarterback, how the offense does if they decide to do a shell defense like Cincinnati did. If one aspect of the game or things you like to do get shut off early, how quick can you adjust? Those types of things. That how well do you do with a bigger, more physical offensive line with smaller, more athletic fronts? Both that D line and the linebackers that play up on the line or play the edge or whatever. So I mean, there's a lot of answers that are going to be had after this game. It might not just be as broad as going off the win-loss. You know what I'm saying?
How stupid of an idea is this? And I
probably pretty stupid. Go on.
Brace yourself. Are you sitting down?
Just got up.
What if I would try this, man? I'm silly like that. What if you just say, all right, guys, before the game starts, before you guys get your pads on, we're gonna weigh all of you defensive linemen, whoever's the heaviest is starting. So you put Sua Lefotu out there with Elijah Judy, and you literally just try a line of the heaviest you have and just see if that can stallmate them. How stupid is that?
I mean, I think it's situational. Like, if we're assuming that they're going to line up in a jumbo set and just try to move the line of scrimmage and pound the ball down, then yeah, that's not a bad idea. But if they're running their normal offense, trying to get their passing game going, letting him create plays within the pocket and then have the ability to take off, no, you're going to want more athletic and speedier guys out there to cover zones and keep track of him when he's getting loose running around, or if the running back bounces something outside. I mean, in theory, yeah, it's good to try to match body for body, but if they do that and bounce the ball outside or do a lot of where he's doing a lot of reads and he's either pulling it and taking off himself or giving it to the running back, and you got a bunch of big body dudes out there just to try to push the line back, who's catching, who's running them down. You know, some of our better tacklers are smart, like Singleton. I mean, I know he's a safety, but I'm saying, for example, some of our smaller guys are our better tacklers. So you just got to go with what works. I mean, and that's the thing where I actually feel good is, and why I was so disappointed after the Cincinnati game. I think these coordinators are legit. Like I don't think anything that I know, that nothing I'm thinking of or seeing is like they're going, oh, yeah, I never thought of that. I should have asked dipshit on YouTube how to do my job I'm paid millions for. Like, that's why I was so disappointed. Is like, come on, man. Like, I guarantee you Holgerson's never or hasn't never seen a shell defense before. And that's why I'm just like, what are we doing with these plays, man? Like,
They're being patient.
okay, well then now's your time to
They're
let the
being
patience pay off and show some shit. But I'm saying, back to what you're saying with the size thing and all that, like, the situation, if it fits and it works and it makes sense, yeah. But I don't think that's how you schemed your defense, because I think you would have focused more on the portal or focusing on other bigger body guys, getting them prioritizing getting them developed to where they can take the majority of the reps. If you want to have that more physically imposing type of D line, as opposed to maintaining gaps and things like that for the letting things play out of the linebacker position. Excuse me.
I got a interesting question for you. This is for you guys in the chat as well. So, and don't try your best not to be homers. Don't just pick Raiola. I want your honest opinion. Who's a better thrower at this stage? Because we got a couple comments on the preview saying, and some likes on the comment where they're like, Bryce Underwood is already a better passer than Dylan Raiola, and that we're gonna find that out. Don't laugh. Don't laugh.
Who who's saying that?
People in the comments of our preview. Yeah. Now I'm sure it was a Michigan fan. That's why I'm asking the question. Like, what do you think? Like, so maybe gauge it as like, if you obviously you think Raiola is a better passer, how much better at this point?
I mean, look at their numbers. Watch a game. Like, Raiola had better passing numbers against Cincinnati than he's had against anybody. They played bad teams too. Granted, yeah, they played Oklahoma, but it's like we didn't show much or mix anything up in the pass game. And then you can argue against me on the other side and go, well, yeah, Underwood wasn't throwing 3-yard out passes all game. Right, but he is throwing some deep balls to people. He threw a couple handfuls that I saw against Oklahoma that just hung up there. Like, shouldn't he have more yards in if he's chucking the ball more and they're focused on the pass game and he's a better passer? Like, how come his numbers aren't on that level? Like, that's crazy. Like, if you watch both of them play, it's pretty obvious. Like, you could take jerseys and names off and everything else. Like, it just looking at the actual passing game of each of them, it's not even close.
It's just interesting that we're going to have this type of correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, have the Huskers ever had a game where they had the number one QB from, like in this situation, we've got the number one quarterback from the 2024 class. They've got the number one quarterback from the 2025 class going head to head. Have we ever seen this sort of?
I think Raiola became the 87th best quarterback when he switched from Georgia to Nebraska.
Right, but we know the truth. We know that he was ranked number one the whole time. So, that's why I say it like that. I just go right. I go right over their heads.
I think you can do that, but
it's easy when you're a nobody because no one will question it.
Sometimes you just get scared of being a nobody.
So, you think he's going to outshine Underwood from a passing perspective only?
I mean, if all things are equal, yeah. I mean, if they both have time and they are throwing somewhat similar, the same, yeah.
We don't go after the quarterback / can't.
Well, I'm saying, like, if their O-line's doing work, but he's eating us up running, or they're running back both, so Raiola has better passing game than him, like, that's not a fair judge. You know what I'm saying? That both ways. If Raiola drops back and two guys are in the backfield before he can plant his foot to throw, it's not. You could say their passing game's better than ours at that point because we can't protect the quarterback and they can. But I'm saying if you're just comparing those two and one guy's running and the other guy's throwing, or one guy's able to throw and the other guy's getting sacked every play or running for his life, you're not going to get a clean comparison. So that's what I'm saying. All things considered equal, or all things being equal, yeah, I don't think there's really any question. And it's not even a knock on Underwood. He's just, there's more things he does than what Raiola does. And this is his first year. This is, Raiola kind of got off to a hot start last year and then started to taper, but also started to feel the effects of the offensive line not being great, as not having a really good or consistent running game, the play calling issues, which eventually got us a different coordinator part of the way through the season. So it's like Raiola's still going through growing pains and developing. Underwood's just earlier in that stage. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm not knocking him or like he'll never be Raiola. I'm just saying from the passing game alone, right now, no, dude. Right? That's a silly. Like I thought you were joking or mocking somebody.
No. Blue Penguin says Underwood overthrows his receivers a lot. At least he did in the OU game. And so I made the comment in the preview video we did the other day that said I thought that they had accepted who he is, that at this stage in his career he's more effective running than he is passing, and so they're going to that's why they're saying they're going to unleash him in the run game.
Unleash and then unload
and unlock. And someone in the comments is like, that's so backwards. They're going to pass more. They're going to pass. He's going to pass more than he runs. You guys don't even understand. Like, you're about to find out where, it's going to be a pass first situation.
I hope he's right. I hope
Me too.
Really pass. Because if they pass and they have success with it, then we know that the numbers and how good the secondaries look so far is inflated from who we played and the fact that Cincinnati was able to run as much as they were. There wasn't a ton of a passing threat in that game. So either way, like, yeah, fine. I feel much better. I feel like we have a much better chance. And I actually like us. Like, if you told me when we did that video, oh, by the way, Michigan's not good. Underwood's not going to run at all.
Or it's going to be like not that much.
That's what I'm saying. Like Dylan Raiola. Like when he's about to get sacked, he'll try to take off, but there's not going to be drop back, let the field open up and turn it into a punt return. They're not even going to design plays for him. It's all going to be stay in the pocket until you absolutely have to go. I would think we're going to win a close game if you tell me that. I could be wrong on that because maybe the secondary is not as good as we think, and we know that the pass rush hasn't been where it needs to be.
If he's in the mode of running, whenever it presents itself, or even if it's schemed, let's say if it's schemed, they scheme runs for him.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to make controlling the clock easy for them. It's going to make, hey, Nebraska, great job. You got us. You got us, babe. It's 3rd and 8. It's 3rd and 7. Good for you. But guess what? Whoop, whoop, zing, zang. Bye. Drive extended. Start over. Can you make us get to 3rd and long again? No, because it's hard to do that when we have a much bigger line and better run game than you have defense. You know what I mean? Like, it could just make things so easy for them to where it puts the game on easy mode, where situationally they don't have to stress, because whenever they need to, they can just slip out of problems with Underwood taking what's there, taking the 5-6 yards that's there, ripping off an 18-yard run that was on 3rd or 4th down, and now you're demoralized and dog tired, and they already had the physical advantage over you. Why would they not run with him consistently, man? They're insane. That's like you and me get in an arm wrestling competition, and I know damn well you're left-handed, but I choose to and I have the choice. It's like, you want a left or, and I'm like, I want your left arm. Why would you do that? Like, you wouldn't. And they're not dumb. And
yeah, to me, it would just be a blatant bad
malpractice, coaching decision. Malpractice.
Yeah.
And I hope we're sitting there during the game, the live stream tomorrow and the post game, just keying about how, can you believe that they played into our hands and didn't run on us? Those idiots. But that's not going to happen, bro.
They don't run on us and they throw all over and still beat us, then I'm going to be heated.
Do you have a neck roll that you could throw on for these streams?
I got a couple, man. I got one in every color. What you need?
Well, Burner just says that you with a neck roll would be overpowered. And so I'd really like to see that.
That's why I don't wear it on screen.
Remember that one time during a stream, I dressed like a Chicago Bears offensive coordinator with the Bears polo and the Bears hat and the glasses? That was good. Yeah. I don't think I'll be doing that again.
With your clipboard? I got a bounce here, dude.
All right, man.
You gonna keep it going?
No, we can shut her down. I think. See, was there anything else? Do you think Sharon Moore's suspension is going to have any effect on this game?
I think if it's a close game, it could.
In what ways?
Just because, at this, like, take Matt Rule, for example. If Matt Rule misses a game, it's not really affecting the play calling X's and O's aspect of the game. Like, he's the program builder, gets these guys in position to do their thing. But then when it comes to a lot of the situational aspects of games, that's where your tight games, when you've got, I mean, I don't want to put a lot on, but I'm saying, like, this area of, like, when they're talking to the players at halftime or before the game or on the sideline between drives, if you're talking to an offensive player or even a position unit or something like that, I think that's where it could affect them more, especially if it's do we punt, do we go for it, do we kick a long field goal, do we try to block this punt, do we try to mass protect and get the best return we can, like a lot things like that. I think so, like, that's what I'm saying. If it comes to a close game and it's little decisions or little mental gaps here or there, I think that could be a factor for them. But I mean, at this stage, the way college football is, it's rare that you don't already have a guy that calls the offense, a guy that calls the defense. The head coach might have more influence over one of those, depending on if he's an offensive or defensive guy. But there's not a ton. I mean, like Oklahoma, what's his name, took the defensive play calling over, it'd be more detrimental to them. But I'm saying, like, where you have legit coordinators, I don't think it's as big of a deal as, it's not as impactful on the gameplay, but I think it's just as impactful or can be a problem situationally where the guy who's normally making those types of decisions isn't there when it comes down to crunch time or high pressure times.
Before I let you go, I'll finish up with the chat and read a couple more comments and stuff after you leave, but what if, I think this would be so big brain, the Huskers sneakily say, oh, you're going to unleash your running quarterback? Well, we're going to tell Raiola, run more, thick boy. Run more. Literally,
nice, man, but
run
like
more.
you said,
because of what Mateer did to them.
Talking about he's disappointed in the quarterback scramble game because the quarterbacks are scrambling and keeping the plays alive, but receivers aren't getting open.
You know they expect Raiola not to run. We've set that up the first 3 weeks.
That tells me
on purpose or not on purpose.
Coach, don't run. Just keep the play alive, and the receivers do their thing. And it's like, yeah, we need to throw that out the window at some point and go. Once it's not there, take whatever yards you can get and get down. Start making teams worry about that because you're 100% right. When they are like, dude, this dude is not running. Like, he ain't running until we basically have him sacked.
Yeah.
That gives you a ton more freedom of what you can do than.
I just wanted to throw that out there as like a what if and kind of a prediction. So if that happens, I can gloat, basically.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm going to throw out like 40 scenarios, about 20.
One of them will happen, and then you post it to Twitter.
Ignore that I had other ideas.
Yeah.
And just hang on that one. I'll delete everything that shows that I said anything else.
On the way out, we got a $5 dono from Living in Omaha. He says, how big of a factor will Holgerson's hog leg play in this game?
Hopefully it's a big distraction for him.
Hopefully he's got it strapped down. I don't want it.
Maybe let it out a little bit just so that they're distracted. You know what I mean?
Oh,
we're all used
so
to
the defense is running by. The defense is running up the field. They look over. They see our offensive coordinator with an absolute hog leg down to his knee inside his pants.
Like this, his hands and feet off the ground, and they're like, "How's he doing that?"
They'll get distracted.
They why they're like, "Oh!"
And then over their heads.
Now they're distracting other guys.
Got it.
You know.
All right, bro. Have a good night at work. Gary's got to go. He's got to jump into a couple burning buildings, and then he's got a night shift at the ER. So,
all right, man.
Later, bro. Let's take his cam down. All right. Thank you for that dono. Living in Omaha, Dave Matney. Appreciate you, man. AZ says Rutgers take the lead. Burner says Gary with a backwards hat, Temu Husker polo, and a Waffle House menu instead of a play sheet with a McDonald's headset would be what the Huskers need. I didn't think that's where you were going with the end of that, and I don't see the connection, but I'll take your word for it. Oh, Matt R. Dude, such a good idea. Says maybe HH does something tricky. Maybe they put Double H out there. Can we call him Double H like Triple H? I kind of actually really, really like that. Maybe we could call him The Game. Okay, so what if they put The Game out there and let him do some quarterback run? Because I'm telling you, you guys saw what John Mateer did. John Mateer is like, what is he, like the Heisman front runner now? Due to what he did a lot of on the ground versus Michigan, he cooked them. They can't stop it either. And the big plays that I saw from the Chippewas or the other, I can't remember who else they played and beat the brakes off of, but New Mexico. New Mexico had a monicum of success against them, and I don't want to speak out of side of me neck because I don't know if they ran actually. I don't think I remember if their quarterback ran. I'll have to look at that. But you see what I'm saying though? Still, if you have Double H, aka The Game out there, he could do something. Seriously, give him like 5 to 8 snaps in this game could change a lot. Damn, that's a great point. Where was I at here? Red Wine says whatever works. Big game, absolutely. Gary said we might need to pull out some trick plays, And I think that would be cool too. Ken says, so when the Huskers win, how many calls in a big red overreaction does someone say Michigan isn't good and they haven't been tested? I say when, not if. There will be that side of the fan base, and perhaps that side of the fan base will have some credence to what they're saying. We have to wait a little bit longer. I don't care. This is a top 25 team, and it's Michigan. And Michigan has always had better trench players than us, and they definitely have bigger trench players than us. If we beat them, I don't care. I'll take what I can get at this point. If they get in a fender bender on the team bus, and a bunch of them have whiplash, and we beat them because of that, I'll take it. Brenner says Gary probably started that fire, to be honest. Well, that's how he makes himself a hero. He knows right where it is, when it'll be started. But let's not talk about that. AZ says H squared. That's not bad either. Maybe we put it up to a vote. If he does something good this game, if they do use him, he's gonna need a new nickname. Matt says Raiola handoff to HH, bomb pass to Linden Kittle. Now I like that nickname. Okay, I've been calling him Linden Daddy, but I think I like Linden Kittle better. AZ says, yeah, but then it's obvious Mateer was throwing too. True, but we've got that locked down too. We'll be able to throw too. If we have some running from the quarterback, that could confuse them. That could make things easier for us to just get first downs that we might not otherwise been able to get. And just extend plays, make it tougher for them, get them tired, make them question themselves a little bit. That would be I'll message him on Twitter. I'll comment at him on Twitter, and he'll have no idea what we're talking about. Burner. HH has mostly been blocking the end. They will run a block release waggle to HH. That would be a nice wrinkle off. I don't know what you're talking about. That'd be a nice wrinkle off of that. They might be setting that up. Ken says, I was in KC, saw Cincy live. Cincy was and is a damn good team. God, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Man, if we end up looking back at the end of this season, everybody, college football wide, and saying, damn, like, Cincy was actually way better than we thought. Cincy made a run at something. That would mean that good things are probably on the way for the Huskers, because we would have been able to beat them in our first game while we were not fully up to speed. Redwine says, yeah, Latif runs some or HH. Get them both out there. Yeah, and maybe you leave Raiola in the backfield as well as a threat to, like, oh, we're going to pitch it to Raiola and have him throw. I don't know. There's a lot of things you could do that if you could get your quarterbacks running. And not that Raiola can't do it. Raiola can scoot. If he wants to do the running, fine. But if you don't want to risk him, or if he doesn't really feel comfortable doing it, doesn't really prefer to it, you've got options. Matt R says 3 QB and a 2 tight end set. Well, I think you're running out of room for some skill players out there, but perhaps. Matt says Cincy's better than the Buffs. Yeah, dude, I think Cincinnati can and will, if they play this season, beat the brakes off the Buffs. But so would we, and we actually learned that firsthand last season. So, real quick, while you guys are leaving comments, please check out our sponsor, Profit X. They're going to give you guys up to 200 if you put 200 in to play with as well for the first 30 days. It's available in Nebraska. It's different than these other sites where you're just making plays and stuff. Like, you get to set your own odds if you want to. And you're going up against people. That's the biggest difference. That's what we like about it. You're not going up against the Haas, because the Haas always wins, obviously. Well, they usually win. Yeah, all you have to do is outsmart another human being, and you win on Profit X. So, guys, go sign up, download the app, use promo code RANT. Terms and conditions apply, so check those out as well. That's a good idea, Burner, and I absolutely respect that. I respect that. What do you guys think about playing Latif, though? I don't... The only pause that I have when it comes to potentially playing Latif is, like, does that start a controversy? Because if you beat Michigan and Latif, it doesn't matter. I'll take it. If you started Latif and that got you the win, so be it. I don't care. But does it get the fan base going? We used Latif. That's why we beat Michigan. He needs to play more. Does that cause a ripple through the locker room? Like, how does that work? Mason says, can we find some red zone offense in this game? Need 7, not 3. Dude, we have been having a hard time scoring in the red zone. It's frightening, and it's really scary because we have a hard time. We couldn't even tush-push against Houston Christian. Or was it Akron? I think it was Akron. We couldn't even tush-push H squared, the game. We couldn't even tush-push 6'5" the game versus Akron. How are we going to tush-push versus Michigan? How are we going to get in the end zone in short if we can't do it against Cupcakes? I'm terrified of that. I really am. AZ says, I'm a big fan of Latif. He's smooth. He's super smooth. He's got a great throwing motion. He comes across to me as like maybe just a weensy bit inexperienced, but obviously that'll all polish out. That'll buff out. But his run game, man, his shiftiness. I know you guys know what I'm talking about, what juke I'm talking about that he laid on Akron. That was like, holy shit. I don't know if I've seen a quarterback move like that since y'all's Taylor Martinez. Just the jab step that he hit at like the 5-yard line. It's just like breathtaking, honestly. I hope that we don't lose him, but everybody's already talking about we're going to lose him in the portal. Teams are probably already coming after him. That's T Magic to you, Matt. Give him his real name. Is there a quarterback in the world outside of Tim Tebow that had as bad or worse of a throwing motion than Taylor Martinez? Taylor Martinez is... do not say he's Frazier with an arm, AZ. Are you telling me that you think TJ Latif is... Just stop. It's not... Don't invoke his name. Don't put that on him yet. That's way too high of expectations. And you're way too overzealous with that. Ken says Frazier was thick and could take hits. Latif's is a bit too wiry. They're not built the same, but also we have no inclination to believe that he's as good of a runner as should have been Heisman Trophy winning Tommy Frazier. Thomas says, use Latif on option plays. He has all the tools to make that work flawlessly. That I think that depends on how much the team naturally like. Do you want to install an option offense or option plays or option package? It doesn't seem like we do. Now, read option, I'm sure they have plenty of read option already built into the offense. Because that's just one move off of a play action. It's like, well, in this case, you keep it or just, from draws and off tackles and stuff like that. Like, you can just pull it. I'm sure they understand that. But pitching, triple option, speed option, it doesn't seem like we do any of that, right? Do you guys ever see us doing any? Can you guys, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying I know this for sure. This is an honest question. Did we run any sort of option plays in the first 3 games? So, I mean, I love the option as much as the next guy, but, I don't see that in our repertoire. And do you practice that before Michigan when you've got a lot of things to worry about? Ken E says Latif, if we're making comparisons, is more like Taylor Martinez. So Ken, I just haven't seen Latif take off for a long enough run to make that comparison. Because the thing about Taylor Martinez was he got to top speed quick. And when he hit top speed, there was absolutely no catching him. And I just don't feel like we've seen enough of that. We've only seen short bursts of run game. Right? Or am I wrong? Is there one I'm missing? Mason says, I would bet we see Double H back there doing something for a changeup over Latif. I'm totally comfortable with that, 100%. In fact, I welcome it because I want Heinrich Harburg to get touches, prove his worth, and be successful because he stayed with us when he could have went to another team and tried to continue to be a quarterback. Like, look at your boy Borkacher over at Texas A&M. He would have been starting right now. I would imagine he would have been starting right now, which is fine because what did you call him? Linden what? Because Lindenmeyer is perfect for us now. But I think Borkacher would have been starting for us. Players leave. And the fact that Harburg didn't, I want him to get more love in the offense. Mason says, my 2 cents is T-Mart better than Latif running, but Latif should be a much better passer. Much better. Absolutely. It was like the difference between an actual quarterback, a good quarterback throwing the ball form-wise, throw motion-wise, versus you grab a random electric punt returner and say, hey, come show us how you throw the ball. That was T-Magic. But he got it done because we had a good defense. Got some things done. We didn't we beat Ohio State with him? Be wrong. That could have been Adrian Martinez. But we had some wins. Sam Foreman says, I hope Dylan has the game of his life tomorrow. I agree, of course. I would be ecstatic if he had the type of game that he had versus Michigan. Cincinnati. If he comes out and just is surgical, doesn't make mistakes, at the end of the day, it's like, wow, he's got like 250, something like that, passing yards, a couple of touchdowns, no interceptions. We won the game. I would be ecstatic for that. I don't even need him to go off. And I don't expect him to go off versus a team like Michigan with the kind of dogs they got down there on defense. This is a team that is a top-tier recruiting program. It's cool that we're becoming a top-tier recruiting program. I think we're third in the country in recruiting right now. they've been top 25 for how many years? How many decades? So we got some catching up to do down there. Matt R says, is Adrian Martinez QB2 in San Francisco now? I'm not sure, but when I first read that, I thought you said Taylor Martinez, and I giggled inside. Ken says, I think we'll see some two-back with Mosey, then motion out to empty sets, putting Michigan in conflict. Well, they're going to come after us if we go empty sets, you know? They're going to come after us regardless. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Are you guys as excited for this game as you were for Colorado last season? Because I'm almost there, but I'm more scared of Michigan. So that might be tampering my excitement, because I'm more scared of Michigan than I was Colorado. But it's almost on that level, right? Thomas says, haven't seen the option myself, but would be a nice twist to throw off the Michigan defense. Otherwise, this is Dylan's game, and I hope he does well. I just want to know, man. This is very akin to being a kid and having Christmas presents under the tree, and you have to go to sleep and wait. And then it could feel like a funeral if we get beat down, which I don't think is going to happen, but it could be it's going to be an emotional roller coaster within the next 16 hours. Are you guys prepared for that? Burner, if you ain't never had actual Nebraska corn, you're missing out, man. Missing out. Matt says, go Big Red. Mason said, yeah, close. Hate both of the teams. That definitely adds something. So I don't hate Michigan yet. Can you explain why you hate Michigan? If you guys hate Michigan, can you guys explain why? I felt like we don't really even have the right to hate Michigan. Like, what do we hate Michigan for? Like, I understand hating them because they're better than us, but that just feels kind of like sad. Like, oh, I hate them. They always take the best looking girl to prom, and I'm sitting here alone, and they get to do this, and I do. It's like, well, yeah, I guess you hate them because they're that much better than you, but I didn't really think of us having like, oh, shared title. Got it. You're still hanging on to the shared title. I'm old enough to have gone. I went through the whole shared title thing. It's not like I was too young for that. But I don't still have animus. The only time I have animus for it is when I see people talking shite online about it. Okay, that's a good one, David Matney. They cheat for starters. Okay, now you're speaking my language. Burner hates them because they cucked him. I thought you liked being cucked, Burner, so shouldn't you like Michigan? Make it make sense. Spurs fan Gary says they tried claiming our 97 title. Okay, but don't you think that they think that we claimed their title? I mean, I bet you they fully believe that we claimed their title. Ken says, I like Michigan fans. It's the Ohio State fans that are insufferable. I formed the opinion living in Illinois, going to games decades before Huskers joined the Big Ten. Okay, that's a very good reason. Very good reason. The best. Matt says Brady went to Michigan too, right? Really? So, I mean, at this point, we're really just kind of clinging on to random reasons to hate them. The shared title I get, if you actually lived around them and think that they're trash people that treat people poorly, I should say. I get that. Tom says if we come out with the same intensity as we did with Colorado, I feel we could have a very good shot to win the game. That's going to matter, but then that's when the Mike Tyson saying comes into play, that everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And when their offensive line, if their offensive line stands up our defensive line, moves them to the side while Justice Hayes goes yard, that intensity is going to be gone. And honestly, the crowd will likely take a hit as well. And we need the crowd to be in it the whole time. Any Who's-Its. Thank you guys for hanging out. I'll try to get some sleep. Hopefully Gary gets some sleep. But we'll see you guys back here about 14 hours. We're going to go live early. We're going to try. If Gary is awake, let me rephrase this. If Gary is awake, we will go live 30 minutes before the game. Be here with you guys to kind of prep for that. And we'll see you guys there. Hopefully you guys make it through the night. Hopefully I do. We have an upset alert on the way. We'll find out. We're going to learn so much about the Huskers tomorrow. This is Christmas morning for us. Thank you for hanging out. Till tomorrow, go Big Red.